Hello everyone, welcome to this session, and today we're going to talk about the malware hunting using Python as an attack weapon, right? So this is my contact at Twitter at Filipi Pires, and my contact on social medias. If you would like to send me a message, this is my homepage, filipipires.com, and my GitHub, by the way. So I have some project there, and my LinkedIn, and if you'd like to send a message with me, so I really appreciate that. Okay, and by the way, in my Twitter, usually I like to share some tools, open source tools, by the way, about some focus on cybersecurity and the program languages and different products, and by the way, about the security stuffs, right? So let me introduce myself. I'm security research at Sapporo. Sapporo is a company from Switzerland, and this company is responsible to provide a visibility of the attack surface in different cloud environments, and not only cloud environments, but on-premise as well, and focus on Microsoft and Azure, Google Cloud, and by the way, in Azure as well. And the idea behind of this product is to looking more about it's a graphic vision and how the attacker can explore different organization, right? So I'm security advocate from senhasegura. Senhasegura is a global company responsible to provide some PAN solution. PAN, it's acronym of the Privileged Access Management, right? And I'm advocate from Hack is Not a Crime. It's an awesome project, by the way. It started in US. And the idea behind of this project is to talk more about this concept called hacking, right? Because when you read some information on the newspaper or on TV, usually this term is related to about cyber criminal, but it's wrong. The idea behind of this topic about the hacking, it's about how you can use in your creative mind when you're looking for some software, and how you can improve this specifically software, and how you can help the companies, of course, into looking on a security perspective. But when you look about the exposure of the information, it's not a hacking. It's about the threat actors. It's about the cyber criminal. Okay, so we can find more information in my webpage, on the page in webpage from this specifically project. Okay, and I'm a coordinator of the DEFCON group, one of the coordinator of the DEFCON groups in São Paulo. And by the way, I'm talking not from Brazil, but I'm talking from Portugal. I'm living here there, and I'm living now actually. And I'm instructor, writer, and reviewer those three magazines: Pentest Magazine, Hack90, and Forensic. And you can find my course about the malware attack type with kill chain in the Pentest Magazine. Okay, so this information is about me. So let's talk about our main topic. I would like to explain to all of you about what is exactly a threat, because it's very important to put all those people on the same page. Okay, so it's not definition from Filipi, it's definition from this specifically ISO. Okay, threat is defined as a potential cause of the incident. I mean, it's something that happened in some specifically company, organization, or it's a potential cause. Okay, as in the specifically incident. Of course, they need to be in with the users, or the security team maybe needs to investigate more about that. But it's specifically about the software attacks, or about the theft of intellectual property, or maybe identity theft. It's very important. Okay, and sabotage, it's another kind of threat. And informations, or all those information distortion, are example of the information security threats. It's very important to understand those differences, okay? Because today we are talking about how you can use in Python scripting in more, attack perspective. And because of that, it's very important to understand what is exactly a threat, and how is important we improve our code, our applications, okay? So, and as a result, many organizations chose active threat hunting practice. I mean, they need to look in more deeply about how the networks exactly work in the organization, and they need to investigate more about all those aspects inside of this specific network. Okay, and let me invite you to think more about me within this specific brainstorming. Right. So today, when we talk about the threats, it's very important because we have many different researches. Okay, and if you are a developer, if you are, for example, if you're working, for example, in DevOps team, maybe when you need to apply something, we need to create some infrastructure, for example, we need to research more about that. And when you talk about the security, we can work in different ways. We can work with the research of threats. We can discover a new kind of attacks, or specifically different in a different views from the attacker perspective. You can improve your team in a proactive line of defense against advanced threats. It's acronym of the advanced persistent threats in the APTs. In this case is what that means in this case. Using offensive techniques, because if you are again a developer, or if you are a programmer, or no matter the specifically name you can use, but if you know how this works in web applications and the mobile, for example, applications, for example, you know how those applications works. So basically, you can find different possibility to explore this specifically software. So this is you can use in your offensive techniques, okay? And you can work with a vulnerability research. It's the same case, in the same way. You can find some web applications, you can investigate more how this application works. If you find some bugs, if these bugs you can explore inside of this specifically bug, you can find a specifically vulnerability, okay? And you can work, for example, with the development of exploits specifically coded to explore this vulnerability, okay? And we can work with the reverse engineer. Sometimes it's more related to not only a mobile, okay, because you can work with a reverse engineer in the specifically app or EasyDK or another APK or other different specifically binary, but you can work with a malware analysis, for example, using different methodology like analysis static and statistical analysis and dynamic analysis, and you can use it in reverse engineering inside of this specifically methodology to looking more deeply about how the binary works. I mean, the portable executable like a PE or ELF binary or PDF or document Word or Excel or another different document offset, okay? We can work in a intrusion detection. I mean, we can work in a security providers, and you can discover how this vulnerability works. And after that, you can create a specific signature for this specific IDS, intrusion detection system, provide intelligence from this specific product, okay? And you can work with the forensic analysis. It's more related to a post-attack. So when you can collect this specific evidence, you can investigate more deeply about that. So we have many possibilities to working in our cybersecurity, okay? And by the way, if you are a developer, you have a good advantage, because you know how the applications works. You know how the mobile applications, web applications, and whatever application works. This is the good advantages, okay? So first of all, we have a threat. And after that, you usually when you investigate something about that, you see if it's non-threat, like for example, Petya or ransomware or kind of ransomware. I mean, it's for example, WannaCry or Petya or another specifically attack using specifically malware, or if it's an unknown threat, it's a totally like a 0 day, so the security providers don't have any signatures to protect itself this specifically against this attack. So basically it's almost basically, of course, it's only basically two different threats, a no and a no, okay? And after that, you can create a report if you executing some investigations about that. So it's very important, because when you describe that, you can improve your knowledge about how the threats works. And of course, you can provide this to your coordinator, your tech lead, your manager, because it's very important to give this specific vision for your organizations. And of course, and after that, you can improve your defenses mechanism, because when you see how is exactly the path used by the attack, you can see what is exactly the technology bypassed from the attacker or by the attacker. You can see exactly what is exactly the path. So this is the creative mind. So you investigate how the attack works in your environment, or you can think more about how is the new possibilities you can use to explore this specific environment. That's very nice. And after that, you can create this specifically cyber threat intelligence I mean, even if you are a big company or a small company, no worries about that, because you can use a different tool to help you to give this specific vision about how the cyber threat intelligence works. You can use in different frameworks to give this big visibility. Okay, that's very important. And if you perform a specific analysis, you can look in more deeply about that. Okay, and of course we need to have this specifically training in cyber resilience, because the threats are changing all the time. Okay, so nice. So let's talk about the creative, or creating a creative mind. Okay, so that's the point here, and the main topic about our conversation in this event. So I will explain more about this Python code purpose, or the idea behind of that. Okay, so the purpose of that is, in this test I was to run not only but more than one Python script to perform various efficient detection tests, because and the idea is to bypass specifically security solutions in my environment when I worked in this specifically organization. But you can use this in your environment now, no worries, and this is my suggestion. During our demonstrations, we all will show a defensive security analysis with an offensive perspective. That's the point here. Using two Python scripts or more than one, you can download many different malwares in this specific environment to test your security sensors. Okay, so that's the idea. So the first test is to simulate a target attacking. The idea behind of this test is to download different malwares and to understand what is exactly the behavior from the security vendors, of course, about the signatures, about the next generation virus, and about machine learning. Because usually the security sensor have a different technology to protect it, to protect the organization. So the idea is to simulate a real malwares to download in this specific environment. This is the first purpose. And the second purpose is to download more than one. My idea is to download the daily branches of these malwares. It means in the end of the days, we have a specifically Malware Bazaar repository. I will explain more about our conversation today. We can download more than one malware. Is a simulation specifically how to break infections in your environment. So that's the idea. And this second task, because my thought, my thinking about that is how should be the behavior of the engine providing for this protection in the organization. So if I infect that with a kind of outbreak infection in my environment, so what should be the behavior of the engine? So that's the idea. And by the way, not here, sorry, but here is the website Malware Bazaar. It's a bazaar.abuse.sch. You can find it here. Okay, you can put in, for example, Malware Bazaar. It's pretty simple. You can click here. This is the idea. Okay, malware is a project from abuse.ch with the goal is sharing malware sample with the InfoSec security. So here you can see more than one specifically malwares. Okay, it's many different malwares, different using tags, signatures. For example, you can see an Excel file, doc file, for example, DLLs, executable from Microsoft, Alpha from Linux, for example. You can look in from, for example, you have here how you can search for a tag, for example. You can put it here, for example, tag and PDF. Click enter, you can see more than one PDF and different malware, as you can see here. And if you can do some testing, for example, you can use in here my PDF. By the way, I download this in 2020. This is a specifically malware in PDF. I have some talks that I explain more about this specifically malware, but here is the main topic. We have here the API, and if you see here different API queries or different queries to using, and you can use in here the example of the Python 3 example of the Python script. I using those specifically from this specifically repository. Here is the guy responsible to create that. Okay, Corsin Kamichel. I don't know if I pronounce correct, but it's a very nice guy. And he created these specifically those two that I am using here in this demonstration. I explain more about this specific. Okay, nice. Let me return here and this is the first Python code. Okay, so the idea about this code, as you can see here, this is I import different requests and systems and argument. It's pretty simple Python script to execute this. okay, to basically I will download one specifically malware or real malware inside of my environment. And as you can see, I need to set the -s, okay, to select the hash of the malware. So basically I need to see here, I need to find, for example, here in Malware Bazaar, I can, this is, for example, let's check, let me show you here. This is the hash, okay, the identity from this specifically malware. So basically in this code, I need to set -s, and after that, I need to set this specifically hash. And after that, I need to set another argument like a -u to unzip this file. Why? Because usually when you talk about the specifically malware repositories, you need, usually when you download some malwares, as you can see, I will click here to show you. Download, take a look at this specific explanation. So usually the malware, when you download, is zipped like this. And usually they're using the same password and fact that. So that's the idea. Not only in Malware Bazaar, but you can find in another, like for example, Filipi86. This is my GitHub. You can find in this specific repository here, repository, and you can click here in repository, and after that you can click here in the zoo. Basically, this is another repository. You can find here many others malware, as you can see here. Malwares, you can click here. It's not mine repository, it's from the community. You can see here the binaries or source, and take a look at many different real malware. So be careful because it's a real malware, okay? So different ransomware. So you can, if you would like to make some tests, you can use in here, for example, in the zoo, or you can use in here the Malware Bazaar, okay? So let me return here. So remember, first of all, I need to execute in the Python script, and after that -s to set the hash, and after that -u to unzip the file, okay? So basically this is the beginning of the file, and after that I need to set the password, as you can see here in fact that. I need to set here the API provided in Malware Bazaar, because when you made your registration in Malware Bazaar, basically you need to have a specifically Twitter account, and after that you have this one of this specifically API, so you need to put in here, and after that you can execute itself the code, okay, to download, and after that unzip the file, as you can see here, and execute the malware. And not in this case, not executing, I just download the malware in this environment. Why I just download? Because my idea is to see the behavior of the engines detected by signature. So I didn't need to execute itself the malware, okay? So basically you execute here Python in Windows platform, as you can see, set malware bazaar.py. Here maybe it's small. I set here -s because I need to put in here the hash. As you can see, a big hash is I think it's 256, or this is the hash, and -u because I need to unpack it or unzip this specific file. So as you can see here, it's a WannaCry, very known ransomware, okay? And as you can see here, executed the specific script. This is the malware I downloaded in this environment, and after that the Python script unzipped this specifically code, okay? So after that, the idea is the cyber reason to block. This is the security solutions, okay? And as you can see here, the malware, it was blocked. So good, nice, because the solution, it works based on signatures. I didn't need to click to execute the malware, because when the script download the malware in my environment, after that the engine responsible for signatures block this specific code, okay? And as you can see, the log is blocked, okay? The second task I executed in Sophos security solution. It's another different solutions. The same case, but in this, and now I'm using another hash, as you can see, started with the 22ED different hash. It's another different malwares, okay? And as you can see, the same behavior. So as you can see, the first downloaded zipped file, and after that the code unzipped, or in this case unpacked the specific sample. Not sample, is malware in this case, but as you can see, the security engine blocked this specifically malware. So very nice. And the third test executing in this case in a CrowdStrike. So I customized the specifically code here. It's just for fun. And I put here another name, by the way, Bauer_Bazaar -S. As you can see, it's another hash -EU. Those three hashes are malware, but in this case, Counter-Strike didn't detect it. Why? And that time, when I performed this test in 2020, in that time, the Counter-Strike explained me that the solution just worked with a machine learning, not work with signatures. I will explain. The only way to detect this specifically malware, this is an explanation from CrowdStrike, after the user click or in this specifically malware. I mean, the user need to interact with the malware, okay? But from my perspective, is the opinion from Filipi, it's very important to have the signatures, because why I need to investigate, so why I need to verify if the malware is malicious or not when I know that this malware is malware, okay? Makes sense for me. So I don't need to wait for the client or the user, actually, I don't need to wait the user clicking the specific binary to see if it's malicious, because I know based on signatures that it is malicious. But I heard something about that now in this year, in 2021, that the solutions will be improved. Okay, so I think now they work with signatures. And the second Python script, remember, this is the first test, so Cybereason and Sophs had a good result, but CrowdStrike didn't have a good result, okay? Because the behavior is different. So here again, but in this case, the second test, remember, in this second test, I simulate an outbreak infection. I will explain more about that. So as you can see here, I import specifically libraries here, as you can see here, okay, by Zyper to, again, uncompress the zip file, and the zip file actually. And here, as I mentioned, this is a simple customization. And that time I worked in Super Innovation, okay, it's a global company. It's a Brazilian company, actually responsible to provide different consulting developer solutions, I think it's an explanation here. And as you can see here, the downloading of this specifically API, I call this specific API, as you can see here in the code, setting here the daily malware batches, as you can see. So remember, the community is responsible to provide many malwares per day. In the end of the day, the Malware Bazaar collect all those malwares and putting in a specific directory and put in this directory the name of the daily batches, as you can see here. So basically, is -download / the data specifically of the day, okay, as you can see here. And so the idea behind of this test is to download all those malwares, okay, during this specifically day, and download it to simulate a specifically infection outbreak, okay, outbreak infection. So that's the idea behind of this code. So this is the second code. And again, daily bazaar, I call here malware_download. As you can see, using the data, specifically in 10 September in 2020, I downloading calling a specific data set using this specifically URL from the API from Malware Bazaar, using the API from Malware Bazaar. Download is completed. After that, I saving data set. As you can see here, is completed because I call this specifically directory from Malware Bazaar. And after that, as you can see here, a data set unpacked. So in this case, I downloaded more than, if I remember correctly, more than 300 malwares in this specifically day, okay? And as you can see here, so many malwares were detected. And by the way, all those tests I reported to Cybereason, to Sophos, and I reported to CrowdStrike. And basically, in these specifically tests, the Cybereason didn't detect 4 malware, but I reported that to the security solutions, and after that, I had some conversation with them, and they improved the solution. It's very, very nice conversation with the Cybereason. The second test is I performed in Sophos environment, and as you can see here, in this case, I saw a different behavior. because Sophos has a more than one binaries using this solution. Remember, in the beginning of the purpose of the test is to simulate an efficient and detection test. So the idea is to simulate a behavior from the engine providing detection from signatures, machine learning, and next generation antivirus. So in some solutions, we have all those protections in the same binary, but in this case, in Sophos, as you can see here, we have more than one services, or actually not services, but binary inside of the machine, the user machine. Because of that, when I try to simulate this specifically test, we have a high CPU, as you can see here, and high memory to protect. So that's, remember when I had this idea, my idea was understand what is exactly the behavior of the engines. So maybe I could broke the engine, and when I broke this engine, because it's totally the many factions in the user machine, I can block the protection. So from the attacker perspective, it's very nice because I could gain the access in the environment because I don't have any antivirus protections to protect against the threats. Okay. Spoiler alerts, just a few other code. I don't have idea to explain during this session, but I would like to show you something very simple like this. You can find this on the internet very easy. Okay, it's a simple import some specific libraries to open a socket here, because in this case my idea is to gain the reverse shell in a specifically victim machine. As you can see here, I import a specific socket, setting here my web server, and after that I set my port to open a reverse port to using my local port. Okay, and very simple. And I using here to infect a specifically victim machine, as you can see here. So I made this specifically testing in CrowdStrike. So first of all, I download the binary here. Because of that, it's a spoiler, because maybe I can talk more about that in another event, and just a simple spoiler about that. So I enable all those security policies here, and I'm go to the specifically I opened the netcat to receive this specifically reverse shell, as you can see here. And after that, I need to download this specifically file inside of the victim machine, and I need to execute this file in the victim machine. Okay, and after that, I will receive this specifically reverse shell. So as you can see here, this is my machine, and this is the port, actually the attacker port, and here is the attacker machine. Okay, so let me return here in the victim machine. Let me click here, and I need to execute here the Python script, that Python script that I show you. So I call it shell.python, open the service here. As you can see, the CMD in green color, but nothing happened here and nothing blocked here. But as you can see here, I gained the reverse shell in the victim machine. So now I have the access and the specific environment. So I have all those access. I'm a local domain. I can using different things to do. And by the way, I executing different commands here, and I explore different things, but it's a spoiler, so I need to show you this in other event. So if you have any question, everyone, so please let me know, and thank you again for this time here during the session. I hope this session should be useful for you. Again, I show you more about this specifically Python code, but the idea is to, to give you this specifically creative mind, and when you work in your organization, so how you can look in your security sensor using the Python script, because it's easy to create that, and how you can use in Python script to improve your security environment. Okay, so that's my idea during the session. So again, thank you so much for being here with me, and see you in the next event.